A few weeks ago, I finished reading Ultralearning by Scott Young, and I really loved this book because, as you might know, I love language learning and I love learning in general. And this book is very interesting because it talks about the main principles about ultralearning project. I already loved two books that were similar to this topic. The 4 Hour Chef by Tim Ferriss, that I think a totally underrated book that talks about meta learning. So that overlaps this idea of learning something, a skill, a knowledge very quickly. And the first 20 hours by um, Kaufman, I forgot his first name. So as I love learning languages fast, I decided this time to do a different project. I already did a lot of accelerated learning, like kind of learn a language in a few months projects, and I wanted to apply these principles to programming because, of course, that's my job. And as I'm still junior, I'm still learning, there are points that I want to dig deeper in. And because learning programming is kind of boring sometimes because when you're learning the best practices, you cannot really play around so much. I decided to try to apply the principles of ultra learning into a programming project. So the first thing I realized quickly is something actually Scott Young talks about in the book is that sometimes it's hard and sometimes it's not necessary to to set a goal from the beginning. And I find this very interesting because, for example, for programming, I want to work on front end, but I don't really know to which extent I need to learn. I don't know if, to be realistic, to brush up my skills, I would need 3 months or I would just need 1 week. So what Scott Young says in his book about goal setting is to wait until 1/3 of the project before setting a bigger goal. The other thing I decided to do is instead of making a big project about like, becoming very good at full stack development in 3 or 6 months, I decided to break it down into smaller parts. And the first step, the first month of this project, that will actually be in 5 weeks because I will take a 1 week break in the middle, would be to become a better front end and WordPress developer. So I've been working with WordPress for I don't know, my first WordPress was probably in 2012, but it's always been kind of a mystery for me how WordPress works and how to really create a theme, how to really edit the design of WordPress, and how to create plugins. That's something that's very interesting for me. So I decided to focus specifically on these skills. So the first week I will work on, I will show you my screen, and I will do it in a very lazy way. I will just switch the camera. Oh, I cannot switch the camera, so I will have to show you my screen this way. Oh, that's very ugly. I should just edit this. So I have a list of things to learn, and for the first week, I want to review some basic front-end concepts, and then I will move to WordPress. Okay, so what is interesting is that I didn't know what resources were available if I needed to buy a course. And something interesting in the Ultra Learning book is that Scott Young talks about spending 10% of the whole project duration doing research. And this is totally worth it, even more if you are the kind of excited type. I get very excited when I'm just like, oh yeah, I just need to learn like the main full stack, and I should go with this. And then like 2 days later, I totally changed my mind. I'm just like, no, I should learn WordPress first because I can get more jobs with WordPress and it's everywhere. And then I changed my mind again. I'm just like, no, I should just work on one thing, JavaScript. So I changed my mind every day. So it's good to have like some buffer time so you really think about it before starting the project, because I think that's really annoying when you're 2 days into the project and you realize you're not learning what you should to reach your goal. As well, it's very important to take time to really define your goal. And for me, it was like to have the main goal is to become better at programming in general, better at full stack programming and the specific technologies I use. But the first thing would be to work on things that give me work. And I know that front end is something that, is very frequent. Most of the people I know who can give me some gigs would ask me for front end. They don't ask me for back end development. They want something fixed on their website. Okay, and so in terms of tools, what I'm using is quite interesting. So I won't really talk about tutorials in this video. I don't want to make it too long, but I want to talk about two things, maybe three. The first thing is the alarm that just rang, and that's Pomodoro. Pomodoro is just like a technique to work 25 minutes, 5 minutes break. I changed it to work 50 minutes and 10 minutes break because for programming, you have a longer time to get into the task, and I find that stopping every 25 minutes for coding doesn't work for me. And that's the first thing. The second thing is to have someone for accountability. So I have my girlfriend and coach. She's doing both. And so I have to report to her every day about what I'm going to do and what I did. This is something very simple, but if you're doing this by yourself, it's going to be very helpful to have to report, at least for yourself, to really have this awareness of what you are actually doing compared to what you planned on doing. So that's something very important. And then the third thing is, so I get distracted very easily. And it's very hard for me to sit in front of my computer and learn. That's something that is very hard for me. I like playing around, I like having ideas, I want to do things, and learning is hard. So the tool I'm using is Focus Mate, and I think it's a really new project. And so I will show you the screen. It looks like that. And so basically you have a schedule, and then you can just book kind of like an appointment, a session, and you will be paired with someone who's using the website, the app as well. And this person, in the beginning of the hour, so it's 50 minutes, you have a kind of a Skype with the person. You just say, hey, my task for this session is to do this. I want to accomplish this. And the other person will say, okay, great. They usually don't know what you're doing clearly. And they say, I will be working on this. And then for 1 hour, what's just happening that they usually you mute the audio, but the camera is still running. And even if I'm not looking at the camera, it's just like a good way to structure the time. It's kind of, I cannot really procrastinate when there is someone on the other side of the screen who's looking at me. Not really looking at me, they don't care, but it's just that I'm accountable on an hour basis. And that's very important because I know already today that just doing this allowed me to correct, my tracks, like the way I was going. Because every 50 minutes I have a heads up, and I have to actually say if I finish my task or not, and what would be my next task. So it's a very nice way to make sure that things happen, that you're actually working, you're actually learning. The second thing is that you have to report to someone, so just it makes you more aware of what you're actually doing. It's so easy to start the day by just starting a random tutorial and then moving from things to thing, and to just wake up at the end of the day and think like, what did I do today? I was supposed to do this, and this, and I ended up doing something totally different. So that's it for today. I think I'm gonna, vlog a little bit about this project in this format, because like video editing is a pain for me. It's really a pain because that's really something I'm not good at. Maybe one day in the future I will do an ultra learning project about video editing, but for now the priority is programming. Okay, see you soon.